Hello friends, welcome back to my channel English Stories with Neha. Today I'm going to be reading a short story called Unspoken Orders by Alex Marmalade. So here it goes, Unspoken Orders. I've said too much, Jack muttered, watching the maître smile fade like a dimmer switch. The restaurant fell silent, conversations halting as heads swiveled in his direction. Jack tugged at his waiter's collar. Occupational hazard of being British. You're supposed to communicate exclusively through weather observations and apologizing. The woman at table 7 stared, her botoxed forehead struggling to register offense. Mr. Harmon, a word. Marcel, the maître d' beckoned him towards the kitchen with a manicured finger. Jack followed, shoulders hunched. He'd only commented that the woman reminded him of Dinah Rigg from The Avengers, unaware that you look like you could kill a man with your thighs wasn't universally considered flattering. The kitchen door swung shut with pneumatic hiss that sounded like the collective sigh of relief from the dining room. The sound triggered an instant, visceral response. Tightening in Jack's chest. 32 years of doors closed behind him, each reducing his world a little more. Jack, what did we discuss about customer interactions? Marcel's French accented voice dripped the particular condensation reserved for speaking to children and convicted felons. Brief, professional, invisible. I was aiming for charming. Jack scratched the back of his head, landed somewhere close to potential lawsuit, did I? Given your situation, we've been quite accommodating, wouldn't you say? Marcel's eyes flicked to the small scar above Jack's eyebrow, the only visible reminder of the violence that had sent him away. There it was again, your situation, the delicate phrasing that reminded Jack of his status without explicitly mentioning it. Ex-con, institutionalized, damaged goods. Right, Jack said. The old prison reflex kicking in, compliance for survival. I'll retreat to my natural habitat among the dirty dishes. Excellent. And Jack, your daughter called. Marcel's tone softened slightly. Something about needing you this evening. Jack's stomach dropped. Emma never called him at work unless something was wrong. 3 hours later, Jack stood outside the Royal London Hospital gathering courage. He hadn't seen Emma in nearly a month, not since the explosive argument when she'd accused him of being more comfortable in prison than in her life. The worst part had been his inability to deny it. Emma lay pale against hospital white sheets, her pregnant belly a mountain beneath the blanket. Dad, her voice caught surprise and something softer in her tone. They told me you were here. Jack hovered awkwardly. Is everything... The baby's pressing on the cord. His heart rate drops with contractions. Emma fiddled with her IV line. They're talking C-section if it doesn't improve, which means Ruby, Jack finished, naming his granddaughter. Who's looking after her? Lisa can't get her until 6. I need you to pick her up from school. Jack felt panic rising. He'd only met Ruby twice since his release. The silent, solemn-eyed child had regarded him with the wariness of a small animal encountering a predator. I don't know if... Jack ran his hand through his salt and pepper hair. The last time I looked after a child, Teletubbies were considered cutting-edge entertainment. Dad, please. Emma's voice cracked. There's nobody else. The unspoken truth hung between them after her mother's death and his incarceration. Emma had grown up with little family. Now with her partner gone too, vanished back to Spain when Ruby was still a baby, their fractured family tree had few branches to lean on. Of course I'll get her. His daughter needed him. How hard it can be. Children are just small humans who haven't yet learned to hide their contempt for me. Emma's relief was palpable. Her school knows you're coming. She takes medication with the dinner for anxiety. She squeezed his hand. And Dad, don't let her watch the news. Not after last time. Jack nodded, not asking what last time meant. Another gap in his knowledge, another reminder of all he'd missed. St. Catherine's Primary looked nothing like Jack's childhood schools, all bright colors and posters proclaiming every child is a star. How differently might his life have turned out, he wondered if he'd been told that instead of learning that mistakes earn beatings. Mr. Harmon, a young teacher, approached, leading a small figure. "This is Ruby. Ruby, your grandfather is here." Ruby, aged 10 but small for her years, regarded Jack with dark, serious eyes. She wore a navy uniform with a cardigan that was slightly too big. Around her neck hung a tablet device Jack would later learn was a communication aid she never used. "Hello, Ruby." Jack crouched awkwardly, knees protesting. "Your mom's going to be in hospital for a bit, so you're stuck with me until Lisa comes. I promise I've improved since my last babysitting stint in 1986. Ruby didn't respond but didn't pull away when Jack carefully took her small hand. On the bus home, Ruby produced a notebook, writing in precise handwriting. "Is Mom really okay?" "She'd been well looked after," Jack said. "The doctors are keeping a close eye on her and the baby." Ruby considered this, then wrote, "They said that about Grandma too, then she died." The simple statement hit Jack like a physical blow. He hadn't known Emma's mother had died in a hospital, another gap in the vast terrain of his daughter's life. "This is different," Jack said. "Your mom's young and healthy." Ruby's dark eyes studied him. Then she wrote, "Did you have to go to hospital when you were in prison?" Jack felt the blood drain from his face. "Who told you that?" "I heard Mom and Lisa talking. Lisa said we shouldn't leave valuables out. Mom said you're not a thief, you're a murderer." "Yes," he admitted after a pause. "I did something wrong when I was young, very young and very stupid, which often go together." "Did you kill someone?" The directness of the question delivered in a child's neat handwriting hit him like a punch to the gut. "Yes," he said finally. "It was an accident." "But that doesn't make it right. A man died because I was angry and showing off. I've paid for it, 32 years worth, and I'm trying to be better now." Ruby absorbed this with unsettling calmness, then wrote, "I'm hungry. Mom makes pasta with butter and cheese, not the green pasta." By the time Ruby was fed and medicated, Jack had discovered something unexpected. This silent child fascinated him. Every careful gesture revealed a mind working overtime to navigate a world that refused to meet her halfway. "She's had a rough time," Lisa whispered when she arrived to collect Ruby, after what happened at her last school. "What happened?" "Some older children took her communication device, recorded horrible things with it, put it online." Lisa crossed her arms. That's when she stopped using it completely. Jack's hands curled into fists, the old rage surging up like a bile. He carefully packed it away, a skill learned through decades of institutional control. As Lisa prepared to leave, Ruby approached Jack, notebook extended. "You're not what I expected." Before he could respond, she offered a hand for a high five, a gesture so unexpectedly normal it took his breath away. That night, Jack's phone buzzed with a text from Emma. "She liked you, said you weren't as scary as she thought. High praise from Ruby." He smiled in the darkness. Not scary. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. The kitchen doors of locked teeth jarred and swung open as Jack plunged his hands into soapy water. "Jack," Marcel appeared. "Telephone, your daughter." "Emma, what's wrong?" "Lisa has got food poisoning. She can't take Ruby. Can you pick her up from school?" Jack glanced at the mountain of dishes. "I'm working until 4. "Please, Dad, I'm trapped here and Ruby..." I saw something out. Marcel raised an eyebrow as Jack hung up. "Problem?" "My granddaughter needs looking after." To Jack's surprise, Marcel nodded. "Take the afternoon. Children are more important than dishes, no?" At Victoria Park, Ruby methodically fed the ducks, movements precise and thoughtful. "You'll be a big sister soon," Jack said. "That'll be exciting, yeah?" Ruby wrote quickly. "Will you go away again?" The question pierced him. No, I won't." "Promise?" The word was underlined twice. "I promise, Ruby. I'm staying right here." She studied him with eyes far older than her years, then nodded once, accepting his bow with surprising gravity. An elderly woman on a bench smiled at Jack. "Your granddaughter?" "Yes," Jack said, the words still strange in his mouth. The quiet ones are often deep thinkers, storing it all up for later. Jack watched Ruby navigate the climbing frame with unexpected grace. "Maybe you're right." Over ice cream, Jack found himself filling the silence with carefully edited stories about Emma as a child. Ruby wrote, "You talk a lot." "Too much?" "No, I like it. Most people stop talking when I don't answer." For the first time since his release, Jack wasn't thinking about prison or all he'd lost. He was simply present, pointing out squirrels and cloud shapes to a child who noticed everything and said nothing. Emma looked paler each day, dark circle beneath her eyes. How was she? Good. We fed ducks, had ice cream. Jack perched awkwardly in the visitor's chair. She's remarkable, Em. Emma's eyes filled. I know, I'm trying my best, but it's hard with everything else she's been through and now this. She gestured to the monitors. I feel like I'm failing her. You're not, Jack said with unexpected firmness. She's loved and looked after. That's more than many kids get. The doctors say I could be here for weeks. Lisa can't manage Ruby that long with her work schedule. I'll help, whatever you need. Emma's relief was visible. Thank you. And Dad? Lisa said Ruby seemed different tonight. More present. Whatever you did today, it was good for her. Jack felt a strange warmth spread through his chest. Pride, he realized, an unfamiliar sensation. 2 weeks passed in a blur of new routines. Jack worked mornings, collected Ruby after school, and became unexpectedly adept at helping with homework. Ruby's trust emerged in subtle increments, a sleeve tug instead of writing, sitting closer during nature documentaries, once even falling asleep against his shoulder in the car. Jack changed too. He stood straighter, made awkward but genuine small talk with other parents, started to feel the prison posture melting from his shoulders. Jack, Marcel called him aside one Tuesday. You seem more settled lately. Starting next week, you'll train as a server again. Jack nodded, swallowing his irritation at having his humanity reduced to a rehabilitation checklist. That afternoon, Jack's phone rang. Emma's number. Dad? Her voice was high with panic. Emergency, C-section, baby's heart rate dropping. I'm on my way. No, stay with Ruby. Lisa's coming here. Ruby can't be alone when she finds out. Jack turned to find Ruby watching him, fear already written across her face. That was your mum, he said gently. The doctors need to help get the baby out early. Ruby's hand trembled as she wrote. Is Mum going to die? No, sweetheart. She's in the best place. My other grandma died in hospital. Ruby's face crumpled, tears welling. Jack felt utterly helpless. What did he know about comforting a child? But somehow his arms opened and Ruby walked into them. He held her as she cried silently against his chest. It's okay to be scared, he murmured. I'm scared too, but we'll be brave together. When the call finally came 2 hours later, Jack answered with Ruby pressed against his side. It's a boy, Lisa said, 7 pounds even. Emma's going to be fine. Ruby sagged with relief, then wrote, What's his name? Thomas, Lisa told him. Thomas Jack Armand. Jack's throat tightened. She used my name? Middle name. I think it's an olive branch. That night, as Jack prepared to leave, Ruby suddenly activated her communication device. The flat electronic voice stated simply, Thank you for staying. The next morning at the hospital, Ruby extended a tentative finger towards a new brother, which Thomas promptly grasped. Her face transformed with wonder. Carefully, Jack cradled his grandson, marveling at how little a new life weighed. Thomas blinked up with unfocused eyes and Jack felt something crack open inside his chest, a warmth he'd walled off decades ago. Ruby tugged his sleeve, her notebook held up. He has your eyes. Jack looked at the baby, then at Ruby, then at Emma. The family resemblance flowed through them all. The same dark eyes, the same stubborn set to the jaw. Maybe we could do this more often, Jack suggested later in the hospital canteen. Even after your mom comes home, Ruby wrote, I'd like that. They were gathering their things when Jack bumped into a woman, causing her to spill her coffee. I'm so sorry, he exclaimed, grabbing napkins. The woman looked up, irritated. Then her expression changed. Jack? Jack Harmon? Jack froze. Sarah Mitchell, a court clerk from his trial. She'd shown him small kindness during that terrible time. Sarah, he managed. It's been 32 years, she finished, eyes flickering to Ruby. My granddaughter, Jack explained quickly. Ruby reached her notebook and showed it to Sarah. My granddad is a good person now. As they walked away, Jack felt heat rising in his face. You didn't need to say that. Ruby wrote firmly. It's true. Jack wasn't sure it was, not entirely, but perhaps it could be someday. As they stepped outside, Ruby slipped her hand into his, a silent vote of confidence. I've said too much, Jack murmured, thinking of all the missteps he'd made, all the times his words had entangled him in complications. But looking down at Ruby's upturned face, he realized that perhaps, for once, he'd said just enough. So friends, this was the short story called Unspoken Orders. Hope you liked it. If you've got any story recommendations, please mention it in the comment section. I would love to read it to you in the next episodes. Also, I would want you to please like my content, comment, share, and subscribe the channel. With a promise to meet you again sometime else, on some other episode, some other time. This is me, Neha, signing off for now. Until then, take care.